More efforts to redefine what it means to be human. The anti-fascist movement in the U.S. beginning to make our streets look like those of 1930s Germany. And solar panels are actually increasing the amount of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. SkyWatchTV for Wednesday, March 15th, 2017. I'm Derek Gilbert. First up, American boots are officially on the ground in Syria. Marines from an amphibious task force left their ships last Wednesday and deployed to northern Syria, expected to provide artillery fire in support of U.S.-backed rebels as they invade the ISIS self-proclaimed capital of Raqqa. This signals an escalation of U.S. military involvement in the war against ISIS. Now, hundreds of U.S. Special Ops troops have been on the ground advising rebel groups in the area for months, but Pentagon officials until now have avoided sending in conventional troops. Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii and Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky have jointly introduced the Stop Arming Terrorists Act. This is bipartisan legislation aiming to prohibit any federal agency from using taxpayer money to provide weapons, cash, intelligence, or any support to Al-Qaeda, ISIS, or any other terrorist group. Since most of the groups on the ground in Syria are terrorists of one sort or another, this would also prohibit the government from funneling money and weapons through other nations who would act as third parties to then transport the money and weapons to those groups. And considering that the Trump administration has just sent the Marines into Syria directly, it could be that these rebel groups have outlived their usefulness. There's a grudge match unfolding in Turkey or in Europe rather, between Turkey and the Netherlands. Turkish government lobbing accusations of fascism at the Dutch, threatening to take the Dutch to the European Court of Human Rights after Turkish ministers were told over the weekend they could not hold a rally for Turks living in Holland. Now, the Dutch government refused because they said there were issues with security. They called out riot police, armed with dogs and water cannons. They confronted protesters in Amsterdam, so tensions ratcheted up over the weekend. In April, Turks in the Netherlands will be eligible to vote in a referendum in Turkey that would give President Recep Tayyip Erdogan a lot more power, basically make the president the sole ruler of Turkey. And his ministers have been campaigning across Europe for the expatriate vote. There are about 3 million Turks living in Europe. Dutch authorities, as I said, concerned about safety at the events. Now, last week, the German government said the same thing, told Turkish ministers to stay away, but they backed down and finally allowed them into the country. The Dutch prime minister said the Turkish ministers could not come and campaign in his country. Turkey's foreign minister showed up and basically dared the Dutch government to stop him. Now, as part of its response, Turkey said it would impose travel sanctions on Dutch diplomats. Deputy Prime Minister Numan Kurtulmus said that the Dutch ambassador to Turkey, who was traveling over the weekend when this situation unfolded, won't be allowed to return to Ankara. But the most troubling development is that this Deputy Prime Minister said that the Europeans haven't kept their promises on the migrant deal. So for the Turks, the deal is now terminated. This means that a year after Turkey pocketed $3 billion to, stop the flow of Muslim immigrants into Europe, Turkey has just voided the deal and could be about ready to flood Europe with a new wave of immigrants. Some estimates put as many as 2 million potential migrants inside Turkey's borders. So the refugee crisis in Europe about to get a whole lot worse, which could have the opposite effect intended by the Turks, which is that this could help other far-right governments and political parties across Europe, like the one in the Netherlands headed up by Geert Wilders, who could wind up becoming the country's next prime minister. A troubling development here in the United States. The Antifa, or Anti-Fascist movement, has spread from Europe to our shores. This picture here was taken at a pro-Trump rally in Denver on Monday. The logo on their flag is identical to the Antifa flag being used in Europe. And like their counterparts in Europe, these black shirts are being funded by private sources, often groups associated with billionaire George Soros. These thugs doing the bidding of the entrenched political elite, or the deep state, if you will, bureaucrats who want to preserve the status quo. It's not a coincidence that the first appearance of these thugs on our shores was January 20th, Inauguration Day, as they rampaged through Washington, D.C., smashing windows, setting cars on fire, and basically causing mayhem. The irony, of course, that the Antifas are acting just like the fascists they say they hate. The law of unintended consequences. New federal data shows that a potent greenhouse gas, a byproduct of solar panel construction, is on the rise. Nitrogen trifluoride, or NF3, a key chemical agent in the production of photovoltaic cells for solar panels. So all these government subsidies and tax credits for building solar panels may be driving the 1,057% increase in NF3 in the air over the last 25 years. In comparison, carbon dioxide has only risen about 5% during the same period of time. And here's the other thing. NF3 emissions are 17,200 times more potent than carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas. Oops. State of Indiana in the spotlight again for religious freedom. Lawmakers in Indiana reportedly considering a bill that would protect students from personal religious expression, or in schools. The bill would cover student prayer, protect students who want to engage in personal religious expression in school. The bill would cover student prayer and the wearing of religious symbols and messages, as well as the citation of one's beliefs in school assignments. The bill passed the Indiana House 83-12, is now being considered by a Senate committee. And here in our backyard, a federal judge has ruled that public schools in Joplin, Missouri, who took students on field trips to a Christian sports complex, violated the U.S. Constitution. Now, the Constitution says that Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of a religion, but the judge, M. Douglas Harpool, who was appointed by then-President Obama, opined last Thursday that the voluntary trips to Victory Ministries and Sports Complex were an impermissible entanglement of government funding, and government authority with a particular religion and religious message in violation of the Establishment Clause. End quote. Now, various schools in the Joplin School District have attended this facility, visited the facility in 2014 and 2015. School officials say that students chose to go to the complex on their field trips. Students were sent home with permission slips and waivers asking parents whether they agreed, gave their children permission to participate in worship services, Bible studies, or any other activities that might pertain to the Christian faith. But the American Humanist Association, which filed the lawsuit, got involved after some parents in Joplin expressed concern. Coming up, about 100 years ago, the Scopes monkey trial brought Darwinian evolution to the courtroom. Now a lawyer wants to prove that apes have the same rights as you and me. That's ahead on SkyWatch TV.
You've been fighting in a war against an enemy you've been told doesn't even exist. SkyWatch TV wants to change that to prepare you for the battles ahead. Beginning March 7th, exclusively from SkyWatch TV, the Cosmic War Collection finally arrives. Featuring 3 groundbreaking books, a 5-hour DVD, and a 7-hour audio series showing you how real the supernatural War of Kingdoms actually is. Reversing Hermon by acclaimed Bible and ancient language scholar Dr. Michael S. Heiser, and The Great Inception by SkyWatch TV's Derek P. Gilbert. You'll learn how Christ's full mission has been misunderstood for 2,000 years. Not only did he come to shed his blood to redeem mankind, Jesus was on a mission to reverse the sin of the angelic watchers who descended on Mount Hermon. You'll also discover how Bible stories you've known since childhood were literal battles in the spirit realm between God and the gods who rebelled. When you order the Cosmic War Collection from SkyWatch TV, you'll receive Reversing Hermon by Dr. Michael S. Heiser, The Great Inception by Derek P. Gilbert, a new, exclusive, never-before-offered deluxe hardcover collector's edition of the Book of Enoch, The Real Clash of the Titans DVD, a special, never-before-released video compilation with 5 hours of teaching on the long war between God and the gods. And The Unseen Adversary, a brand new audio series on MP3 disc with 7 hours of Derek P. Gilbert interviewing Dr. Michael Heiser on the Watchers, UFOs, and the Great Cosmic Rebellion of Satanic Forces. A value of more than $100, yours for just $29.95. The Cosmic War Collection, available beginning March 7th only from SkyWatchTV. Know your enemy. Order the Cosmic War Collection beginning March 7th by calling 844-750-4985 or log on to skywatchtvstore.com.
An animal rights attorney goes to court this week to prove that apes are persons under the law. On Thursday this week, Stephen Wise, who founded the Non-Human Rights Project on behalf of the great apes, whales, and elephants, will go before the Appellate Division of the Supreme Court of the State of New York in Manhattan and argue that 2 of his clients, the chimpanzees Kiko and Tommy, should be afforded the rights of personhood. Now, Wise told NBC News in an interview that personhood does not mean they are humans. A person, he said, is the law's way of saying that the entity has the capacity for rights. A thing which chimpanzees are not now, or are now rather, according to Wise, don't have the capacity for any kind of rights. He wants to prove in the eyes of the court that the chimpanzees and other great apes aren't things, but autonomous beings that possess consciousness and deserve to live their lives to the fullest extent possible according to that autonomy. Look, animals are already protected from abuse under the law. Animal protection is one thing. Animal rights, that's something else again. Look, they aren't persons under the law or otherwise, because this is a sword that cuts 2 ways. If you can have non-human persons, you can also have non-human persons, you can also have non-person humans. In other words, somebody who's suffered a severe head trauma or suffering for a type of birth defect where cognition is impaired. A lawyer might make the case in front of a judge that because a person doesn't have the capacity to live autonomously, that person is not entitled to rights. Let's not go there. Officials in New York City still trying to figure out why the Statue of Liberty went dark for an hour last Tuesday night. The statue went dark about 11 p.m. local time, was off for about an hour. The unplanned outage might have had something to do with an emergency generator, part of the last remaining project from the Hurricane Sandy recovery project. But a Twitter account connected to the Women's March movement suggested it might have had something to do with last Wednesday's Day Without Women, which encouraged women to skip work, refuse to shop, and wear red. Walt Disney has decided not to release its new movie Beauty and the Beast in Malaysia. Now, Malaysia, which is mainly Muslim, has a problem because of its Muslim faith with the new live-action film due to a short gay scene in the movie. We talked about that last week. Now, film censors had approved the movie with the removal of that scene, and the 2 main cinema chains in the country of Malaysia said that instead of releasing the film with the cut, Walt Disney had ordered that the film be put on the shelf indefinitely. Film Censorship Board chairman said he doesn't know why the film was postponed. Scenes promoting homosexuality in Malaysia are forbidden, and the film had been given a P-13 rating, which is like PG-13 here in the United States. The takeaway here, to me anyway, is that Walt Disney would rather not show the movie than show the movie without the gay scene. And that says something about the agenda of the executives at Walt Disney. University of Minnesota has become the latest university to do away with the traditional homecoming king and queen and replace them with the gender-neutral royals term. But they're taking it a step further. University of Minnesota points out that the winners don't even have to be one biological male and one biological female. The royals can be any combination of any gender identity. Male, female, both, neither, other. Campus officials call the change a move toward gender inclusivity that promotes a spirit of inclusion at the University of Minnesota. Unless, of course, you're heteronormative. And I don't even know what to say about this one. The author of a children's coloring book has invented a character called Tony the Tampon to instruct children that men can menstruate. The author of the coloring book has been using it to destigmatize the biological process, but now, however, she wants to degender the process and persuade children that men can have periods too. This is just the latest front in the progressive campaign to blur the differences between men and women, essentially deconstructing God's creation. Male and female created he them. And finally, Carleton University in Canada has banned weight scales in the campus gym. Why? Because students found them triggering. That's right, stepping on the scale, if it gives you a result that you don't like, could trigger bad feels. Or feel bads, I don't even know what the term is. A sign has been put up in place of the scale explaining that the decision to remove it is in keeping with current fitness and social trends. Okay, something we are remiss in not having announced sooner. Congratulations to the winners of our little contest for the Cosmic War prize package. That is the prize package for the new books by Dr. Michael Heiser and yours truly, as well as the hardcover edition of the Book of Enoch, the DVD of my presentations on the subject material of the book, The Great Inception, and the 7 hours of audio interviews with Dr. Michael Heiser. Our three winners, Shanna Durden of Streator, Illinois, Kevin Byer of Bothell, Washington, Roy Torum of Shasta Lake, California. And by the way, something else I should have announced last week. Minor delay in the shipping of the packages. We thank all of you who have ordered. It took a little longer to get the books from the printer than we expected. We were told, and my book is the one that's the holdup, so I apologize. We were told last Thursday the book was being proofed and that the printing would commence immediately. We're expecting the books any day now, and to prepare, the ladies in the warehouse have pre-packed several thousand boxes already with everything except The Great Inception. So as soon as the truck delivers the books from the printer, they will go into those boxes and those boxes will ship. So I know we're about a week late already in shipping. We appreciate your patience and thank you. This is my first nonfiction book, and I can tell you the two novels that I've released sold literally 10 of copies. So seeing this many books going out is, frankly, it's unbelievable. So they will be shipping very soon. We just appreciate your patience. We'll let you know as soon as they get here, hopefully within the next day or two. Thank you to Ed and Dee for sending me this little church bulletin. Small church, Baptist Church, Southern Indiana. Church small enough that the bulletin is, it's not full color, it's just run off on the copy machine. Includes an article on transhumanism and the danger of transhumanism in it. So the word is getting out there. A little encouragement. Thank you, Ed and Dee, for sharing that with us. And we will keep you in our prayers, by the way. Hear the Watchman Conference coming up at the end of the month. Remind you that March 31st through April 2nd. If you can't be in Dallas for the conference, you can watch it live on the internet. Live streaming option is available. It's $39, although the cost does go up to $49 after March 22nd. You can get information and register at hearthewatchman.com. And take advantage of an extra 5% discount. Use the promo code Gilbert5. That's Gilbert and the numeral 5 when you ordered live web stream at hearthewatchman.com. And don't forget the True Legends Conference coming up to September 15th through the 17th in Branson, Missouri, our backyard here in the Ozarks. This will be a big one. Steve Quayle, Tom Horn, L.A. Marzulli, Dr. Michael Lake, Timothy Albarino, Spanish explorer Anselm P. Rambla, Pastor David Langford, and yours truly at the Mansion Theater in Branson, 3,000-seat auditorium. The Oak Ridge Boys will be playing there the week after this conference. They play about 20 dates a year there at this theater. Nice facility. We hope to see you there. For more information and to register, gen6conferences.com. That's GENSIX conferences.com. You'll find us online at skywatchtv.com. Links to all of our social media sites are there, and you'll find my stuff at derekpgilbert.com. Thank you for watching as we keep watch. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is SkyWatch TV.